First off, welcome to Marian University. I'm Jason Bartelt, Director of Athletics. Thank you so much for taking the time coming down here today as we kind of introduce a new era of men's basketball for Sabre Athletics. As many of you know, Coach Mark Boyle retired after 30 years at the helm this past March, and looking forward to continue his success. And at this point, gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce our next head men's basketball coach, Drake Diener.
Thanks. So thanks everybody for coming. This is kind of a rare occurrence for me because I don't know if some people might know I've been in Italy for the better part of the last 12 years. So I've done some press conferences in conjunction with my playing career, but it's nice to be able to speak English at this one and maybe hear some English questions. Or it's a little different feeling. Actually, it's kind of, I don't know, I was more relaxed when I was speaking Italian, I think. But this is a really exciting period in my life for me and my family. I was, as I said, I played for a long time overseas. I'm 36 years old, so kind of this past season I was starting to contemplate what I was going to do next, or you start to think like, yeah, this probably could be my last year. My kids are starting to get to an older age where they should probably be in some American school. So I, throughout the season, I was kind of thinking that this could be it, and then in March I saw a tweet actually that Coach Boyle was retiring after 30 seasons, and kind of instantly bells started going off, and it seemed like could be potentially a perfect transition for me into what I always kind of considered would be my next line of duty, which would be coaching. I always thought people would always ask me throughout my career, "What are you going to do next after playing?" And my answer kind of was always, I didn't know, but I knew that I had to be involved in basketball somehow. It would be difficult for me to imagine my life not without a team. Because to play until you're 36, obviously I've been on a team since I was in elementary school, and so it'd be really, I always thought it'd be really strange. So for me to have this opportunity right away, right out of playing, is an incredible opportunity for me, and then the fact that it's in Fond du Lac, it's amazing. I've not lived here permanently for a long time, but I have never really left. I've had a home here for 10 years. During the off seasons, I'm always in town, so I'm actually like a mile and a half away. So for me to get this opportunity now, kind of at the perfect time of when I was already probably going to retire anyway, it just could not have worked out any better. And so far, I've been on the job for whatever it is, 6 weeks, and it's been great. I think it's a very easy place to feel comfortable. It's a small, tight-knit community, and I think I think that's something we try to sell to potential student athletes, is that it's really hard, I think, to not feel comfortable here. So I felt I've had a really great feeling so far. It's been easy for me to step in and start to do what I think I need to do, and it's been easy for me to start to figure out what exactly that is, because obviously I have some things to learn. Having Coach Boyle's 2 assistants stick around, Coach Wiegert and Coach Monroe, have both been great sounding boards, and getting out on the recruiting trail and everything like that. So the transition's been great. I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to be back in Fond du Lac. I'm excited to have a team to look forward to working with, and I think Marian is absolute perfect place for me. Perfect place for me to be, and I'm really, really excited about it. So I'll open it up to if anybody's got any individual questions, we can start that.
How does it feel to be coming full circle? Does this bring your mind back to playing basketball at Goodrich?
Yeah, it's I think just being in this community, I think that'll maybe set in a little more when the games start, and maybe I look in the crowd and there's some of the same people that I played high school basketball in front of. I think that's probably when that will set in. Obviously, it's a totally different different situation. You know, I grew up following more of the high school scene because my dad was a high school coach, so it's a little different that way. But you know, to be in this community where I grew up and I have a lot of friends and a lot of you know, people from every generation that I have good relationships with, you know, I'm really excited to be a part of it, and hopefully, you know, I think I'll always feel, and I'm hoping that our team starts to feel that we're representing Fond du Lac, because I know I always will feel that way, because I think the people that have always supported me will support me now.
In addition to location, why else was Marion a good fit for you, or the best fit for you?
Well, I think I've always thought about college coaching, or coaching in general, and you know, there's different high school. There's high school coaching. There's small college coaching. There's you know, Division I coaching, and each one I think has its positives and negatives. My dad was a high school coach, so I saw what that life is about. My brother was a small college coach. I saw that, and I saw he was actually, my brother was also on the staff at University of Virginia, so like the highest level. And you know, the highest level is obviously the place where maybe you end up making the most money, and you know, you have the nicest facilities, and you have the nicest locker rooms, and you have everything you need. But also, I think to sign up for that life is to sign up for a life of kind of having to move a lot. You know, if your coach could get fired, you're always. I think those guys are always kind of looking for the next step up, and that's just the way it is. And for me, having moved back and forth for the past 12 years from here to Italy, and within Italy moving, you know, one of the things that my wife and I have always looked forward to is a time where we could actually settle down and stay somewhere for a while. So I think that this, especially being a head coach, that kind of affords me that luxury, and then also I can just concentrate on basketball versus, you know, my dad was a great high school coach, and he was also a great teacher. Those are kind of two jobs in one. So, you know, I'm happy to be able to concentrate on basketball and the recruiting side of it. So, you know, I kind of a perfect fit for what I'm looking for right now in my life.
Rick, during your career, you mentioned, you know, knowing that you're going to be maybe a coach someday. Were you, you know, following coaches or watching coaches maybe a little extra closely to pick up some things for this time in your life?
Yeah, I think I've always kind of thought like that. I think just from being around my dad growing up, kind of the way he, you know, everything from how he organized the practice plan to in-game things. I think seeing him think about it makes me always think about it. Even when I was younger, I would think about something as simple as, you know, in practice, why is the coach putting these 5 guys together right now? And it may have been no reason at all, but that's where my mind would go, would be like, okay, why was he trying to work here? So, you know, I've always kind of thought like that, and I think as you get older, you start to think more about things like that. I think when you're younger as a player, physically you feel perfect every day, and you can just go out there and do it. And as you get older, you have to kind of be a little smarter about everything you do. So yeah, I've started to think, there haven't been any, I mean, I guess the only coach I follow specifically would be my brother, who's been a successful small college coach. You know, I watch all his games, but and then of course my league in Italy, which is, you know, it's a little different style of basketball. But so I think I'll probably be influenced by both those things.
So what kind of style of basketball are we going to see at Marion? Is it going to be the ball control, emphasis on defense, like your father?
Yeah, I think I think I've moved away from that. What he because even now he's a coach. He's the assistant coach for my brother, and they don't play the same way that Fond du Lac High School used to play. And part of it is the shot clock. Obviously, you can't do that. But I'm definitely probably more influenced. Just, you know, my last 12 years have been in Italy, in Europe, where and I think those I mean, that part of my life when you're an adult and you're actually thinking about things is kind of when you're maybe more influenced on what your mentality might be as a coach. And it's the most recent time in my life, so I think whether I like it or not, I'll be influenced by the European style. And I mean, not that I don't like it, I do like the European style. So I think it's going to probably have to be a little something in between. I think I would like to play with a lot of spacing, open the floor up a little bit. And I think part of the other thing I have to think about is what kind of roster you have, what kind of characteristics your players have to kind of fit with what you want to do. And you know, from what I've seen, we've got some pretty good talent already, and some pretty athletic talent. So I think we can play, you know, kind of a more open style. Try to play a little faster and use some more of our athleticism.
What excites you about taking over the Marion program, based on what you see that you're stepping into now, roster-wise and talent-wise?
Well, you know, it's a roster of 26. So, and I saw last year's team only on video. So I hate to, like I told all the players, you know, I've seen probably 12 to 14 of them play. It's a lot of guys didn't play last year. So, you know, I've told everybody this is a clean slate. So I don't know what I have at those, you know, those other half the roster. I don't know quite yet, but from what I've seen, I'm excited by the talent. I think last year's freshman class in particular was, a lot of them played big minutes last year, and I think they're a pretty talented group. So it'll be nice. It's nice to have, you know, especially as guys who are just sophomores now, that are good players. I think, like I said, I think we have some quick guys, some athleticism in the backcourt. I think that gives us a lot of defensive potential in terms of pressuring the ball and making people uncomfortable. I think we've got a nice group of players that can really do that. Can really get into people and make them feel uncomfortable defensively.
What are your thoughts on something that you probably haven't done, and that's recruiting?
Yeah.
And where I guess what's your philosophy in trying to get players to come to Marion? How are you going to sell Marion and Fond du Lac?
Yeah.
Where are you going to be looking for
Yeah,
players?
I think part of that is obviously we'll try to look where we've had success in the past. I think we've done a good job tapping some of the potential down in the Chicago area, and then you know, we do have some of the local kids, and I'm hoping as you know, with me being a new guy after Coach Boyle being here for 30 years, it's naturally it's a fresh thing, and hopefully we can get some of the other local kids that maybe haven't considered Marion as much to give us a better look. You know, conferences like the FBA, I don't think we've had too many kids from the FBA, and it's a tough, you know, those are tough kids to get. But you know, like I said, hopefully we get some kids that haven't considered us to consider us and see. And you know, like I think one of the ways, as I touched on before, one of the ways that we can sell Marion, I think it's very hard to not be successful here. It's not, because it's such a tight-knit community. I think there's so much support. I think it's really easy to feel comfortable. And so I think if you feel comfortable, you tend to do better. And I think this is a place where you can do that. So that's one of the main reasons. And I think it'll be easy for me to sell Fond du Lac. I really love Fond du Lac. I have forever. And you know, I think it's a great community. It's not too big, not too small. We're in a nice area between, you know, Milwaukee, Green Bay, Madison. So I think you know, Fond du Lac's an easy sell. I think Marion can be an easy sell.